Hi, welcome to our first online class, Fundamentals of Lighting. I'm Robert Kondo.
I'm Daisuke Tsumi. We're very excited about this class. We've taught classes before, but this is our first time teaching online.
So for our first online class, we really wanted to teach observational painting. And the reason why is because it's such a critical part to the beginning stages of how we think about when we're going to create painting for any of the work that we do, whether it's for film or games or any of our own kind of projects. So we also thought of it as part of a greater curriculum, that if we were thinking about teaching several classes, that this was a great place to start.
Yeah, in the past we've taught a little more advanced professional specific classes, but this class would be for everybody, not just for professional, not just for beginners. Anyone can benefit from this class.
So some of you might be wondering why it takes two of us to teach this class, and it's something we asked ourselves as well. Dice and I have both worked together in the industry now for about 7 years, working both on Toy Story 3 and Monsters University side by side as art directors. We also directed a film together, a short film together, and I guess what that means is that creatively, and a lot of our philosophies and a lot of our creative endeavors kind of land in a very common area, but we are very different artists. We approach our art differently, and we kind of work together because we actually balance each other out through our differences. And it was no different when we came to thinking about our first class for schoolism. We felt that together we would be able to balance each other out so that it's not just about one approach to the work we do, but that we could actually be objective about how we approach teaching. Because to be honest, teaching was a big decision for us. We wanted to teach, but we want to also take it as seriously as we do our art, and kind of give you guys the best possible class that we can put together. And so for our first class, we felt like for your benefit, that we would be teaching this first class together.
Yeah, especially we wanted to make sure this class was not about you becoming painters or artists like us. It's more about like sharing this approach and philosophy that we strongly believe in, that you understand, and that way you can apply that to your art, your painting, your expertise.
So before we begin the class, let me tell you a little bit about myself, just so you can know a little bit more about me and where I'm coming from. This is some of my student work from Art Center, where I was studying illustration. A lot of what I did in the beginning of my education was exercises in observation, so figure drawing, traditional landscape painting, even kind of perspective class was all about studying different aspects of life and observing a lot of things so I could eventually make stuff out of my head. That was one thing that I really focused on when I was doing these exercises. My goal wasn't really to make gallery-worthy work, make beautiful paintings or drawings, so much as it was to learn these things so that I'd be able to draw things without needing to look at something, so I could just make things out of my imagination. And at the time, I was really fascinated with these art of books, the visual development that was being shown, and books that were being released that had some of the artwork from these animated films. And I started to create artwork that I thought emulated what I saw being done at these big animation studios. And I always tried to find ways to apply what I had observed in life and apply that to what I imagined in stories to create things I might not have seen before. I wanted to create these imaginary worlds and these places that could be believable. And I always loved the creations of worlds and architecture. going to school, I think that's one of the great things I walked away with is a greater understanding of actually my love for things. So I found that I actually love drawing and observing environments. It really was my passion, and it was a nice thing to discover while I was at school. And so my first job coming out of school was actually working with an artist named Stephen Olds. And so this is a small selection actually, but this is all Stephen's work. And it was my first job at this game studio. I had a 3-month trial with them, and the studio was called Angel Studios. They're actually not around anymore. But I remember he had advised me to take this job that I had been offered at Pixar. So at the time, I took this trial, but I had already interviewed at Pixar. And I was kind of torn because Stephen was a great mentor to me. But he advised me, take the job that you've been offered at Pixar. But he also, before I left, and I'll never forget this, and I'm forever thankful for this, as kind of hard as it was to hear, I remember he gave me a reality check before I had left working with him. I had asked him, so how did I do? I worked with you for 3 months. I'm about to go work at Pixar. But based on my portfolio, how did I do? And I remember he was very honest with me and basically said that he was a bit disappointed. Based on some of the work that I had done, he felt like his expectation was higher than what I had actually delivered. And so I went to Pixar to work on Ratatouille with that in mind. And it was a great thing for me to constantly think about, that my portfolio had set up an expectation based on what I had learned. And I was about to go work at this company that was larger than where I had left, with this idea that maybe I wasn't delivering. And so what was great about Pixar, and what attracted me about Pixar, is this amazing collection of artists that were there that I had admired for a long time. So I felt like it was a great place to be. And it was kind of a new school for me. It was, I had new mentors, I had new people to look up to, and I had a lot of things to learn. Stephen had set me up in a place to really be in a place to be receptive to a lot of feedback and improving as quickly as I could so that I didn't disappoint again. And, my first production designer, my boss at Pixar, was Harley Jessup, an amazing artist, production designer from live action, but also, doing amazing animated films. And it was amazing because he allowed me to chase growth. He was a great mentor to me. He really showed me the ropes as to the strengths and weaknesses of 3D design and designing for CG animated films. And he really just sat down and spent a lot of time with me to teach me a lot of things that I just had no idea, way beyond the scope of just being an illustrator, but actually being a designer for film. And in the beginning, on the early days of Ratatouille, I think these paintings show a little bit of where my confidence was as a painter specifically. We were looking a lot at 101 Dalmatians as one of our inspirations for creating some of the artwork and the feeling we wanted to create for Ratatouille. And I have to say I was a bit relieved because I was able to kind of place some graphic color behind my more confident line work. I was a much more comfortable draftsman and kind of, I love to draw much more than I did kind of painting, working with color and light. And this kind of helped because I was able to capture a mood and not really have to define what light was doing, but almost use it as an abstract color graphic shapes behind this line work. And so, it was great for me because I could capture a mood, but didn't really have to share with the world or share with the team kind of where my painting strength exactly was at the time. Hid a bit behind the style. I still feel good about this work, but I think I was allowed to kind of hide a little bit behind the style of the work.